Hey everybody, Marcos Villegas here with 3-division world champion Wayne Pocket Rocket McCullough in Santa Monica, California, where we're going to talk a plethora of boxing topics. First off, Wayne, I've always wanted to know, can you, and I know you probably recounted this story a lot, but the Pocket Rocket nickname, like for me in our audience, where did it come from?
It came back in '88. I was on the Olympic team. I just was 17. My first Olympics, I didn't get a medal in Seoul, Korea. And a guy called Kieran Joyce, I was the smallest member of the team, fighting at 105 pounds. He said, I'm small, I can fit in your pocket. And I threw over 100 punches around, so he said I was a rocket, so the Pocket Rocket was launched.
When they gave you that name, like, how were you when they told you that? Were you like, oh, that sounds kind of cool? Or were you like, nah, call me like the Destroyer or like something like that?
I think the Pocket Rocket fitted me because I'm short, but I was shorter even back at 17. And it just, the way I threw punches, it just worked for me. So the Pocket Rocket was launched.
You know, certainly it's a unique nickname. I don't think anybody else has been through the game, right?
Boxers ever had it.
Yeah.
So it's the first boxer. Yeah, other people have Marvelous and the stuff like that, but I'm the only boxer. So I officially changed my name in Ireland to Wayne Pocket Rocket McCullough.
It's like on the license.
On the license, yeah. Oh, okay. By default, yeah.
It's a kind of cool thing.
Got to change it over here as well.
You know, I've always wanted to know too. You faced a lot of guys in your day, a lot of legends. And in his heyday, Naseem Hamed was a monster. You went the distance with him. How was it dealing with someone so unorthodox in the speed? How was that experience?
No, Hamed, he actually fought my undercard back in 1993 in Dublin. And he was never going to fight me. Then I fought a guy in 98 that he had knocked out in like 2 rounds. I went the distance with this guy. I struggled a little bit. I was going through promoter problems. So Hamed offered me the fight after that one. So the blessing in disguise. And then when he offered the fight, I'm like, I was up for the fight for a long time. He fought in Dublin in 96 against Manuel Medina. And then he had posters all around the city. Forget about McCullough, come see the Prince. I was bantamweight champion, he was featherweight. So I'm trying to figure out why he had me on the poster. I turned up at the fight and approached him because he said my wife was scared of me fighting him. So I turned up at the weigh-in and I confronted him and told him to leave my wife out of it. If you have anything to say it to me. We got in a bit of a confrontation and then he backed off and I went to the fight the next day and the crowd started singing my name the whole way through the fight. So after that one fight he decided to fight me and it was so unorthodox. The guy was he was strong, he could punch, but I said to him at the press conference, when you hit me, what are you going to do? Because I'm still going to be there. He knocked out 18 guys in a row, and I moved up 2 divisions. So I said, the first time you hit me, I'm going to just do that, and you're going to run away from me. And he did that for 12 rounds. He ran away from me. I fought the corporate, the HBO fighter, and you know I thought I did enough to beat him, but I knew I fought against a guy who was the HBO fighter, but he was so hard to hit. You threw 2 punches at him, he's away, and he moved away. Then he jumped in with a big hook or an uppercut. But I say, once I could take his punch power, then he couldn't do anything to me.
You know, I know a lot of people have mentioned this about the Mayweather-McGregor fight, that Conor could come in with the style that's very unorthodox, very strange. And I know Hamed would box his whole entire life, but they're saying that could be an advantage that Conor has. When you hear something like that, what goes on through your mind? Do you think it can present problems?
Yeah, Conor's got a great shot. You know, I know Floyd for 20 years. We shared the same gyms. I sparred him once. So I know what Floyd's like. He's quick, and his punch power is pretty good. He's quick because speed is his power, and he's had like 27 knockouts. But Conor's got that orthodox style. He can't throw 1 punch at a time because Floyd will just pick him off, bang, 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 bang. And everybody says he has a puncher's chance, but Floyd's fought Shane Mosley, Canelo, guys who are big punchers, and they did hurt him momentarily, but then he recovered and he won the fight. But Conor has that shot of Mayweather gets old. He might step in the ring and get old. And if Floyd gets old, you know, it could be a good night for him.
Is it a kind of a emotional tugging back and forth for you? Because you're a boxer, but you're also Irish. You have a guy who's come from MMA. He's Irish, but he's going up against boxing. A lot of people are labeling it MMA versus boxing.
I love both sports. I love the UFC. You know, so they're 2 different sports. Conor, I take my hat off to him for getting Mayweather to come out of retirement to take this fight. Money talks. You know, Conor's going to get a big payday. The UFC's going to get a payday. And then Floyd's going to promote the fight around the world. He's going to get 200 million plus whatever the world profits are. So they get him out of retirement. We got Floyd back in the ring. And he's known as the best defensive fighter of all time, and anything can happen on the night. Conor has that shot.
How do you?
I say I know Floyd. I'm more friendly with Floyd than I would be with Conor. And people are like, "Oh, but you're Irish." I'm like, "But if somebody's my friend, I support my friend." So, but Conor has that shot, the shot of Floyd getting old. But I say I've known Floyd for 20 years, and we would never walk past him anywhere we are, and I respect him.
How do you see the fight playing out on fight night? Do you feel it can be competitive for a few rounds, or do you feel right from the beginning it might be extremely skewed towards Mayweather?
No, I think as Conor's going to go out there and try for the one shot, and against Floyd, Floyd's speed is he's here. But if he gets old, I keep bringing it up, he gets old. He can get old. The fighter gets old.
If he gets old, even someone the level of Conor, can that play a difference?
He was an amateur boxer back in the day. He fought at the amateur. He won the nationals, I think it was like youth or junior or something. So he won a national championship. So he's been in there. He started in boxing, he went to MMA. So it's that shot of the unknown, and Conor's the unknown guy who he's so, as you say, he's awkward. He's in front of you, then he's not in front of you, and he's here, and it's interesting. It's interesting because the fight really is going to happen.
Yeah, it's crazy, huh?
I've actually I reached out to Conor McGregor. I met him once at his fight a few years ago before he was champion in MGM. Went backstage to meet him. I've reached out to him even then to say, let me teach you some stand-up boxing for MMA, because it's not good. And then when he got this, I offered him last year when I had Julian Ramirez in here. I say, come in and spar my pro, plus you can spar me. No answer. And I've reached out to him about 3 or 4 times for me to get into his camp to spar with him. I'm not looking at any money. To help him was like at the level of World Championship level. I'll teach you. My coach Eddie Fudge used to spar with Joe Lewis. Eddie was my size. Preparation, get speed, get better timing. He never took it, but he's calling all the other guys out, like Berto and Stevie Forbes. They're talking about sparring him. He called them guys out. He never called me out. Why? Because I'm in shape. I've been in shape. Haven't got out of shape once, and he didn't call me out. And I just wanted to help him. I just wanted to help him.
Kind of taking that to heart, seeing that you guys are both the same background and all that?
I know I could help him.
Yeah.
But
so you're just kind of like perplexed, like why wouldn't they respond?
I have the formula to beat Floyd Mayweather because Floyd's my friend.
Yeah.
But I've shared the ring with him once. I know what it's like, and I know Floyd. I know how to dissect certain things. Eddie Fudge told me to look at fighters and dissect them, and I know how to do that.
So how would you dissect Floyd based on what Eddie taught you?
No, because Floyd's everybody who fights Floyd go to his head. Yeah. And there's certain things you can do not to go to his head first. You know what I mean? To do things. And Eddie taught me how to do that when I fought Hamed. Eddie wasn't in my corner, but he gave the game plan. He said, if you do this thing, if you make Hamed move to his left, he's going to look bad. I made him go to his left because he couldn't get the big right hand on, and I made him look terrible that night. And the HBO made every excuse under the sun. Eddie gave the game plan. I made him look that way for a reason. I made him look terrible, so that's the reason why Hamed looked terrible that night, because Eddie Fudge's game plan made him look bad. And Eddie showed me how to do that for certain things, and I could teach Conor McGregor, but he doesn't want it.
So how does Conor make Floyd look bad, in your opinion, for this fight?
Well, then I give the game plan away, wouldn't it? And Floyd's my friend too, so you know what I mean. But I say even Freddie Roach didn't have the formula to beat Floyd. Everybody who went against him, 49 people, haven't got the formula. So, but Floyd's brilliant, and I respect his defense. I say he's the best defensive fighter of all time, and I was honored to share the ring with him once, and he was brilliant. So the guy, Floyd, is a brilliant fighter, and will he be that on the night of the fight? He hopes he is, but it could all go wrong.
There's been a lot of issue with the glove size in this fight. They had it for 10 ounces. Now they just announced that it's going to be with 8 ounces. You having such an iron chin and having fought a lot of your fights with 8 ounces, 8-ounce gloves.
I actually fought in 6 ounce once.
You fought in 6 ounces. Oh, so they changed it then.
Yeah, 93 and back in that. I was actually listening to an old fight that I was going through, and the commentator said I was wearing 6 ounce gloves, and I thought they were small, but they were 6 ounce.
What would be the biggest difference you feel between 10 and 8? Can it give any advantage to Conor or Floyd?
Most of my career, 8-ounce gloves. Boxing gloves are different. You can feel your knuckle coming through them. And MMA gloves have that thick leather part along here. And if you take this part away in boxing, the wrist part, then you don't need that, so there's 4 ounces gone. So boxing gloves are still small as well. And when you tape your hands up like the gauze, you can feel your knuckle coming right through a boxing glove. And it's different. And the MMA gloves may look smaller, but they don't. Boxing glove, your knuckles coming right through them. And with your hands wrapped up like a plaster cast, it's really, really strong.
So you think that's a huge advantage for Conor, or is that
probably he's a better puncher? Yeah. But Floyd's fought Canelo and say Mosley, who are big punchers, and I think when Floyd starts drilling Conor over and over to the head, Conor's not used to that either, because he's MMA. You can hold a guy, you can take him down, but boxing is more or less focused on the head, body. So it's going to be different being hit over and over and over and over. So Conor's going to find that a bit different as well.
I was thinking too, the 8 ounces could help Floyd out because Floyd has the faster hands in the fight, and with lighter gloves, yeah.
Speed is power. So when he boom, but Conor's a big puncher in MMA, and boxing is a lot different. You know, as I say, Canelo can hit hard. Are you saying Conor can hit harder than Canelo, or more?
I personally don't think so.
That's what I mean. So that you can't. He can say he does, or they can say whatever, but he should spar them guys in.
That'd be great. I'd pay to see that fight, but I think it'd be a very one-sided fight if he were to fight someone like Canelo. You know, speaking of which, he sparred Malignaggi. By chance, did you see the clips that were released at the sparring? What'd you think?
I think it was a knockdown, yeah. Yeah. But I know Paulie really well, but I say, you know, Dana's my friend, and I know what happened. You know what I mean? So you get the gym. What happens in the gym? I've seen guys getting knocked down in the gym when I used to train in Top Rank back in the day. And the guy that get knocked down, knocked that guy out in a real fight. It's different, you know what I mean? Gym fighting is different from a real fight. What happens in the gym, it doesn't really matter. You're learning.
I know a lot of people.
Paulie can talk, and Conor can talk too. So you get under Paulie's skin, and they're like back and forth, and bad blood. It's going to be interesting out of the fight because Paulie's going to be the commentator. So it's going to be, he can't really be offside too much. So he's going to have to be down the line. It's going to be really, it'll be funny that night.
I know a lot of people have mentioned because of that clip, they're giving Conor more of a chance now because they're saying, well, if he could do that with a 2-time world champion like Paulie, well, what's to say he can't do that with Floyd? Now, a lot of people said, well, Paulie's not Floyd. But others are saying, well, he's showing that he does have the goods to be able to hang in there with someone.
You can't compare Paulie Malignaggi to Floyd Mayweather. Believe me, you can't. I said I'd spar Floyd or Conor and he wouldn't spar me. You know, I had, out of my 27 wins, I knocked 18 guys out. I wasn't a big puncher, but my combination of punches would drill you down and roar you down. My first 12 fights, I fought mostly Mexican fighters who I believe are the toughest guys in the world. I knocked out 11 guys, so I was doing okay. With Eddie Fudge's plan, he had me sitting down on my punches more, turned them over. You know, he worked on my defense a lot. I had a good chin, but I had a lot of like blocking and slipping and rolling, like Henry Armstrong did back in the day. And Conor can punch one shot at a time, but in boxing you can't do one shot at a time. You got to be combinations. Even Mike Tyson back in the day was one, you know, like bum and uppercuts, bang the shots in, and the combos uppercut. And so Tyson was all like slipped up, bum. If you look for a knockout, you don't get it in boxing. And if Conor looks for a knockout, he won't get it. If he just lets the punches flow, then anything can happen.
You think they'll fight, him and Paulie? I think it's natural for them to fight. It's already like built up, but
it depends what happens in this fight.
Yeah, that's very true. Because if Conor gets knocked out or something, then
if everybody expects Floyd to walk out and drill him over and gets a stoppage, drops the mic and walks away, you know, that's like, it'll be an embarrassment. Where if Conor stays in there, fights a good fight, gets the upset win, or goes 12 rounds, then, you know, you can say okay. But Conor's an MMA star, and only he can make more. He's making more money by fighting Floyd. Does he make that much money fighting Paulie?
I think if he fights Paulie, he'd make a lot more money than he does for his MMA fights because both can talk, and there's already like a built-in drama there.
I think because of what Conor's did in the UFC. He's starting to get the big paydays in the UFC. So I really think he'll make more if he fights a top contender like Tony Ferguson or something like that, who can fight like crazy, than Paulie Malignaggi. Because Paulie's retired, isn't he?
I think Paulie's already said he'd come out of retirement to fight him.
So that's why I never officially retired. I kept the door open. The door's still open for me. You know what I mean?
Just in case, for the right fight,
You retire, you come back. I joke with Dana White the other week. I said I'll fight Demetrius Johnson in an MMA fight because I do jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. And he said he's still training. I said I train every day. I've known Dana for 20 years, and we just joked about it. You know what I mean? So, no, I respect both sports. I respect UFC, the MMA, and I respect boxing so much. But the fight's going to happen, and that was a shock to everybody, I think. Anything can happen on the night. Anything can happen.
Ultimately, do you think Conor can last 12 rounds in there with Floyd, or do you expect maybe he'll get tired and could potentially get knocked out?
I think he can, because if Floyd has bad hands, you know what I mean? Yeah. And, they always say punchers are the ones with bad hands. Floyd wasn't a big puncher. I wasn't a big puncher. I had like 50 or 60 cortisone shots in my hand. I had bad hands. And so when you're hitting somebody in the head over and over, you get bad hands. And Floyd's that type of guy. That's why probably part of the reason why he retired twice, because his hands were so damaged. And with 8-ounce gloves on, it's going to be even worse. But if this is his last fight, then he probably doesn't care if he racks his hands over and over and over, because he'd be a rich man. He'll be a billionaire after this fight.
I think probably the first billionaire athlete, I think.
Because they say $200 million for the fight worldwide. It's probably going to make $1 billion. He's a promoter. You got Sky TV coming over. You're going to have all around the globe, Germany, China, whatever. They're going to be tapping into it. It's going to be the biggest drawn fight probably ever in boxing or MMA. Money-wise, it'll be huge.
That's crazy, because it's an MMA fighter coming over in his first pro boxing fight to get that.
He did it with a wrestler, remember?
With Antonio Inoki.
He wrestled, he boxed. Yeah. So that was more of an exhibition. But this is actually a real boxing fight. And if Floyd wins, he gets Rocky Marciano's record.
Would you consider him to have an asterisk if he wins this fight? I'm kind of curious.
Because Conor hasn't fought a boxing fight, they'll probably say yes. Muhammad Ali fought Archie Moore in his last fight, which is a real world champion. But Conor's not a licensed boxer. His box track says 0-0-0, but he's still a boxer, you know what I mean? So, should it happen? I don't know.
I wish I could just get 1% of that $1 billion total payday. I'd be set for a little bit.
I'm sitting here at home this gym.
Yeah, I know, right? Wayne, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. It's great talking to you. Wayne Mccullough. Of course, hey, plug your social media so guys can give you a follow over here.
Wayne Mccullough. You'll find it everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever else there is out there. My daughter teaches me everything.
All right, Wayne, thank you so much. For Wayne Mccullough, myself, Marcos Villegas, we thank you all for watching us over here at Fight Up TV.